Hit record
I
here.
am recording.
I
Ba,
am
ba, ba.
recording.
Ba,
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 ba.
ba. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 639th episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
I am here. Yep, I have my Pokemon posters up. That exciting saga has concluded.
Finally, we have made it to the Pokemon posters. Bobby also here.
Yes, last week I said I was swearing off raids in Pokemon Go. I have since done raids, so that lasted 6 days. But I haven't paid for any. I have not paid for any raids, so I will.
Okay.
I stand strong on that.
The real winner. Slow news week this week. We got some news though. Don't worry, we always have news. We'll go through it. I have on a personal level, I have paused my Twitch streams for for 2 weeks. So if you're listening to this and you're like, why haven't you been on Twitch? I said I was going to take a break after I got back from South Korea, and then they announced Infernape, and I felt obligated to do Infernape raid builds and then do Infernape. It is very possible that they announce a 7-star raid tonight. We record these on Sunday mornings. They usually announce raids on Sunday nights. So that's possible, but we'll talk about Scarlet and Violet later on in the show. Otherwise, for like Twitch stuff, I'll probably be back on the 21st of this month. It's just like Twitch is like, out of everything I do, Twitch is like the most time consuming thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there was, obviously, you're listening to this podcast. There'll be another podcast next week and the week after and the week after. So we don't miss a Monday yet. Well, I don't know if somehow I can't record. Hannah has the capability of. I'll put Hannah in charge.
Yes. There's always a backup plan possible.
Speaking of backup plans, Pokemon Sleep check-in. There, how is your what do we even call this? The like old gold power plant debut Pokemon that could either be on green grass or the power plant. I'm assuming you both went to green grass.
Yeah, and actually my backup plan didn't work. Speaking of backup plans, because I had a busy work week and did that thing where I keep tracking the sleep and just decide I will check in with Pokemon Sleep when I can. And because of that, I missed out on encountering Pokemon that I wanted to catch. And so I've brought it up on the podcast before. When you miss a few days but still have the data, it'll kind of recap that for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it will have automatically given biscuits to some Pokemon, so it'll automatically catch some Pokemon for the days that you kind of missed.
Right.
And it didn't give biscuits to the right Pokemon. And I saw that it found the new Pokemon and it didn't give biscuits to them. And I think I got like a Caterpie or something instead.
Caterpie's close to Grubbin.
Yeah, they're both bugs.
Not close enough. And so I was very disappointed. And I regretted missing checking in on Pokemon Sleep for a couple days this week.
That's unfortunate. So when you skip a couple days, this is just assuming you have biscuits to give. It just randomly gives them, or does it just give?
There's
your
always
daily
the daily
one to
biscuit.
one?
Yeah.
So it just gives the daily one to a Pokemon?
Yep.
I'm assuming it gives the daily biscuit to the one that's hungry.
I'm not sure if you can tell that. It just gives it to a random Pokemon, I think.
Okay.
Well, did you catch the Caterpie?
Yeah.
So then it had to have given it. It had to have been more than 4.
Or it was already, or it already had some biscuits before that.
Was it a good Caterpie?
No. It was not a good Caterpie.
Well,
Bobby,
sorry.
you also went to green grass?
I did. Yeah, I just hit 290.
Which is Lapis?
What? Yeah, no. Lapis is 240.
Oh, okay.
but I just hit the 290 goal. Like, so I'm still 50. I'm like 47 or 46 now away from being able to go to the power plant. But yeah, I did green grass. I slept every day. So I
Whoa,
so
breaking news.
So did Hannah. So did Hannah. That's
Bobby
not
is
what I meant.
sleeping every
Glad you
single
didn't pull an
night.
all-nighter.
No, I meant well,
Sometimes I sleep twice a day.
There were a couple days where I went to bed very close to 4 a.m. and was a little worried I was gonna miss the the cutoff, because with the Go Plus Plus, you tell it, right? You tell it when you go to bed, so
Oh, I see what you're saying.
but with the Apple Watch you don't, right? So it's like if the Apple Watch didn't think. So it's interesting because with the Go Plus Plus, even though you have to have like the 10 minutes of whatever no movement, I guess, before it starts to say that you're asleep, when you push that button, that's actually the start of it. So like even if you push that button at 3:59, you're gonna get that like sleep at that point, right? But the Apple Watch doesn't work like that, obviously, or smartwatches don't work like that. So I had a few nights where it was like 3:55 and I was like, oh, like
They still counted though?
Out. What?
They did still count though?
Yeah, they still counted. So
okay.
so I got new Pokemon. None of them were good. All of them were terrible so far. So I haven't used any of the incense yet though. So I will probably use those this week. I saw that they will not work on green grass after the 30th of October, I believe.
That's how it was for Lapis as well.
Okay. So yeah, if you don't use
you don't lose them.
No, you don't lose them. They just only work on power plant. Like you're just unavailable to be used on green grass after October 30th.
Yeah.
So I'll probably use them this week at some point just to use them. But yeah, it's fine. It's a fine event. I don't know. It's nice to get some more styles, obviously. Get my way to 340 at some point here. And yeah, haven't used any of them though yet. Haven't gotten any coffee, so haven't started that process. How about you, Steve?
I did not take my own advice and I went to power plant.
Of course.
How'd that go?
I don't regret it though. As of once I do lunch, I'll be Master 5.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
At power plant. I was actually talking about this with Nick in the Slack, where power plant seems so much easier than Lapis. Like I remember being at Lapis for probably like 4 weeks before I got to like Master 1, like without a ticket, a good camp ticket. And I think the difference is it's been so long since Lapis that my meals were increased.
Yeah.
Like the meal power in general was increased. And I think the electric event made me invest for Raikou, made me invest into like a Raichu and an Ampharos and stuff. And so those really help.
Plus you have the plus Pikachu.
Yes, plus the plus Pikachu, right, which also helps on that. So it's funny because this past week I have felt so invested in sleep. Like when I say invested, I mean like I'm genuinely excited every single morning again to be like, hopefully I got a Grubbin or an Aeron or a Shinx.
This also, is why Steve took streams off. He's got to play sleep all day long.
This is actually why I canceled streams. I needed to optimize my sleep time.
It's 2 weeks. This event ends, and you said you're coming back October 21st. So
I really needed to double down on my Pokemon sleep. The Dene is also on power plant. But I feel like almost compelled to give this game money and to spend because I'm just tearing through biscuits. Normally, I would like let's say like a Caterpie is hungry because Caterpie can obviously be on power plant.
Hannah knows that.
If I see like a hungry Caterpie and a non-hungry Grubbin, I would put my premium biscuit into the Grubbin, and then I would use one Poke Biscuit, and then boom, I caught the Grubbin. I would just ignore the Caterpie altogether. Don't care it's hungry, don't need it.
Same.
Just skip it. And that's how I think most people should be playing, right? Like just because you see an Ekans is hungry, it's still not worth your free biscuit or your regular biscuit. Ekans, as of this recording, is still a really bad Pokemon. But because there are so many Pokemon I want for power plant, like I don't have a good Fuecoco, I want Aeron, I want Shinx, I want Grubbin, I want Drifloon, which we're going to talk about. I've been doing the like, okay, 2 Poke Biscuits. Okay, I'll give it the Great Biscuit. So like every morning I'm walking away with like 4+ Pokemon I've caught.
Wow.
And I will report after this whole week, they're all bad. I haven't gotten a single good one yet. They're all terrible. But I feel like with Lapis, when Lapis did the 2 weeks on Greengrass, I felt like I should have played harder. Like I should have caught more routes. I should have caught more shuffles, because the reality is once that was over, it felt like those Pokemon were like, I still don't have a good routes. Lapis has been out for what, like 6+ months, still don't have a good routes. So I'm worried that like when this event is over, it will be tougher to see Grubbin, Aeron, Shinx. Just like It's kind of tough to see routes unless you get a specific sleeping style every night. And so I'm having a good time with it. I am really low on every single biscuit possible.
Yeah.
So I have like over 2,000 free gems. So I could get like the $1,200 bundle or whatever other bundle to get like 5 more Great Balls, 10 more Poke Biscuits, that kind of stuff. But I'm genuinely having a good time with the game. And I think them secretly adding Drifloon and Drifblim to the game mid-event was so delightful.
And on a Friday, no less.
Yes, on a Friday. I think there were some people saying like this seems like an accident. There was no announcement. I don't think it was an accident at all. I think like it debuting on Friday, which is like the gimmick from like Diamond and Pearl and everything of them appearing on Fridays. I think them secretly like putting it in on a Friday, boosting it for everyone, because it didn't matter what sleep style you had. Almost every single person playing this game woke up to Drifloon on Friday. I'm sure there's one person listening being like, I didn't get any Drifloon, but I haven't seen anyone not wake up to Drifloon on Friday. And then Drifloon having a brand new main skill, which is the stockpile. And it is saying here, available on Greengrass, available on Oiled Power Plant. Normally dozing is when it appears. I just like, it is nice when there is not, it is nice when Pokemon games can like genuinely surprise you. Like no one knew that Drifloon was coming.
Yeah. And it was nice that it wasn't tied to a Halloween event, but took place in October also. Like I feel like that, it's like it also took place like during October. I mean, there's this other small Pokemon game called Pokemon Go, and they don't seem to like do the same thing in that way, like where they could have had a community day in October that was Halloween related, and they don't do that typically. It's just kind of cool to see them do that, and it's not related to a Halloween event. So it was a nice surprise.
Not by name, at least.
Can we talk about the its ability, or like its not ability, but
main
skill? Because so help me understand it a little bit. I was reading about it, and I kind of understood it, but it's like, because it's 2 different things, right? It's like stockpile or spit up.
Yes.
And so how exactly does that work? It like stockpiles for a while and then it does the spit up thing?
So every time, from my understanding, and there's not a I did check the hardcore Pokemon Sleep subreddit, and they have reported that they don't know if this ability is actually like good or not.
Right.
It's like that's too early to determine.
That was kind of my wonder, if it actually is going to be worth it. Like I understand how it works, but I just wonder if it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, I think as of right now we don't know, but ideally for somebody who doesn't know what it does, when you have the little like ability is ready exclamation mark, it is either going to stockpile or spit up. That is random, but if it chooses to stockpile, it is going to get more and more powerful until it randomly chooses to spit up, which then works like a Golduck or a Raichu or an Ampharos, where it's just adding charge power to Snorlax's strength.
Right. And I think it's a specific number, right? It's not a range. So every time you're stockpiling, I'm assuming it's that same number just being multiplied. Like, so then like by the time it spits up, it's that number multiplied by however many stockpiles it had before that.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. that might be fine.
Yeah, fine seems like the right word for that.
Yeah.
When this podcast comes out, there should be a new bundle in the store, the Drifloon bundle, which is 7 Great Biscuits, 7 Pokey Biscuits, 2 Drifloon incense, and then 60 Drifloon candy. That'll be 1,500 diamonds, which is like $20, by the way.
Yeah.
Pokemon Sleep is expensive.
I was almost tempted by that because I actually missed this Drifloon, but I'll just be patient. I'll come across one eventually. It's fine.
Yeah, I got one and it wasn't any good. I do like that it can be all corn for ingredients, which is cool. Mine is not, but that possibility is there because at this point, I think the only ones that can be all corn are Stuffle, maybe?
Stuffle.
I'm not sure if Comfy. I have Comfy that has 2 corn.
Comfey can be all corn, but it's
can
not. Comfey real bad Pokemon right now.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's not good.
Wait, why? What's wrong with Comfy? I have a really good Comfy. And
it's just like there's just other Pokemon. It's like as somebody who has like a pseudo, I have a shiny pseudo Widow that pretty much matches what an ideal gold duck would be.
Okay.
And they do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason why I got to Master 5 is because of that pseudo Widow, because every time it procs, it's like 7,000 free charge power to the Snorlax.
Yeah.
And it's like shiny. It was like my first shiny, so I don't regret or feel bad powering it up. But if it was a Golduck, it would do the same exact thing, except it would proc a little bit more often, and that number would be a little bit higher. So it's like that's why when people like tier list stuff, it's just like Pseudo Widow's F, Golduck's A. But like realistically, they do the same thing. It's just one does it slightly better in like multiple ways.
Yeah.
So
Comfey, there are Pokemon that do it slightly better than Comfey.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
But Comfey, I mean, like, its main skill is just like, isn't it just giving energy back to itself? Oh no, it's one. It gives energy to one random Pokemon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's got corn. Mine's got double
If
corn.
it has corn, that's good. Like like I have advocated on this show that don't get obsessed with like trying to get like an S rank Pokemon of every type, because like again the power creep is already the power creep with these 3 new Pokemon are already here. Like Aggron is a better sausage getter than Charizard. I can't remember what else Aggron can get, but Shinx is a better tomato getter than Victory Bell. It is also a better oil getter than Toxicroak. Grubbin is the only Pokemon that can get 3 coffee. Like, like it's just power creep. Yeah. So eventually something will beat Golduck or be better than Dedenne or be better than Gardevoir. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad. I
just always like, it's just every Pokemon I'm investing in, I feel like the new one that comes out is literally just like it's like that every single time, and it's a little, it's to the point where I have to not care, obviously, because if I do care, I'm gonna start spending money, and that's the one thing I don't want to do in this game, aside from the $10 monthly thing, which is already wild. But but yeah, I'm definitely trying to not spend money in this game. And yeah, this week actually I had a Dedenne. This morning I had a Dedenne, and I used some sleep points for a couple of Great Balls. But I was like, the thing I'm not going to do is use a Master Biscuit on this. And I'm sorry, Hannah, I know you used one on your Dedenne way back.
I don't regret that.
But I already have a Dedenne, and so I was like, okay, I'm not going to use a Master Biscuit on this one, and I'm going to keep myself from like using, because I don't want to end up spending. I just don't want to spend money on this game aside from the subscription. So sometimes I have to just put it down and be like, it's fine. Like, what I have is fine. So,
yes.
And
that's a success every time.
Yeah.
Speaking of spending money, you could spend $100, Bobby, on an alarm clock from Nintendo.
Yes, I could. I haven't. But I almost want to. I'm so close to wanting to spend $100 on that alarm clock.
Please tell me it's just because of the novelty value. because I genuinely think this is the worst product Nintendo has ever released.
What?
Yes.
Not the Virtual Boy?
No. Nope. Not the Virtual Boy. I think that
this product's fine.
This is maybe the
No.
hottest take Hannah has ever had on this
So
podcast.
what's so wrong with should we explain
Well,
it first?
maybe I should explain it
Yeah.
first. I know this is a Pokemon podcast, but I think because we talk about because we are the premium exclusive only Pokemon Sleep podcast in your favorite podcast app, I think it's appropriate that we talk about the Nintendo Sleep thing that came out, since we do talk about sleep every week. This is off theverge.com. This morning, Nintendo announced a $99 Alarmo clock, and it went on sale in the company store in Rockefeller Center. So you could buy it right away. The other way to buy it was having a Nintendo subscription and then buying it off their website, which I personally think, as a side note, very clever to prevent scalpers from buying it. Although I don't think any of the online orders have shipped. I think the only way to get it right now was going to the Nintendo store in New York.
Yep. Which it sold out. Just so you know.
Surprise.
But it's not a limited time item. So don't it will be back in stock.
Yeah. The display is not touchscreen, nor is it round. It does automatically adjust the brightness based on ambient lighting. One fun detail is the clock screen and the typeface will change depending on what alarm you have chosen. Whenever the regular clock is showing, the character on screen will move left or right based on your movements, or if you're in range of the motion centers. You can control the Alarmo with the buttons up top. A large dial can be turned to navigate the menus. There is a back button and a left button, and notification button to the right. There's no serious health monitoring or anything like that. Mario will not let you know that you're snoring. There's no microphones in it. There's nothing aside from the core function. Alarmo has a sleep sound that you can doze off to. Nintendo plans to offer new sounds that can be downloaded to the clock once you've linked your Nintendo account. And yeah, there's some more details here. They just said that they just kind of talked about their experience, but it has 5 games, or 5 themes, I should say. It has Mario, Zelda, Ring Fit Adventure, Pikmin, and I can't remember the last one. Splatoon,
which I have something to say about in a minute here.
So Bobby interested, Hannah not interested.
Again, I think this is the worst product Nintendo has ever released.
Why?
Not the Virtual Boy. I think the Virtual Boy was ahead of its time, and not the Wii U. I think the Wii U led to a lot of really great things.
Yeah.
Well, I think that this... I watched the video for this because, okay, cool, new Nintendo product. Okay, cool, it has to do with sleep. I am someone who tracks my sleep using 4 different apps every night. I have read a book about sleep that I wish I could make many people read with some caveats. I think that this device is going to make people hate their favorite games. Subconsciously. I don't know if either of you have ever set a favorite song as your alarm in the morning, and then every morning you have to hear it when you have to wake up, especially if you're going to school or going to work early in the morning before you want to wake up, and it gets to the point where whenever you listen to that favorite song of yours, it just prompts a sense of panic.
Yeah.
And I think that this alarm clock is going to do that with all of people's favorite games. Not to mention the fact that after it goes off, because it's motion sensing, if you are rolling around in bed or moving at all, if you are moving towards turning the alarm clock off, it will get louder and make more sounds, which I feel like incentivizes people to stay as still as humanly possible and just go back to sleep.
Yes. So from my understanding, and I don't have one, obviously, that the alarm doesn't shut off until you physically get out of bed.
No, but it makes more noise if you move.
Well, so a couple things to that. Okay. So one, you can set it so that you have to hit the button to turn it off, and it doesn't actually do the like wait till you get up to stop making noise. You can set it to like a more traditional alarm clock setting for one. Two, it makes sounds that are like in-game sounds as you're moving around. So if, for example, if you have it set to the Mario theme, as you move around, you'll hear the sound of like coins as you're moving around. It does get more intense the longer you go from actually getting up. So like if the alarm is going off for 5 minutes, the music sounds one way. If the alarm's been going off for 15 minutes, the music gets more intense to try to get you up and out of bed. So even staying as still as possible to like not have it do sounds isn't going to work,
It'll
because
still get
it'll
louder.
get more intense as you don't.
But that
get
doesn't
up.
change the fact that I think it's going to make people subconsciously hate their favorite games.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you.
I can see that.
Okay, I've told this story before. I will tell it again. There was what is the name of this? There was an alarm clock. Maybe it was called Clocky. It was an alarm clock that had wheels.
Ah, yes.
And the concept behind it is when it goes off, it will drive off your bedstand, and it was like randomized, and it will ideally drive away from you, forcing you to get out of bed to catch it to turn it off. And I was like, this is perfect, because I'm definitely one of those people that hit snooze over and over. Like I'm also one of those people that set like 20 alarms, right?
Same.
Like the best alarm for me is just like scheduling like a dentist appointment early in the morning or a haircut. Like that will 100% get me out of bed. But like if I
you
don't
got the
have
stress going on,
if I don't have anything to sense of urgency, then I'm definitely like I'll hit snooze over and over. So anyways, I buy the Clocky. I think it's called Clocky, and it is so loud and obnoxious, right? It's not even like the annoying noise it makes. It is like the slamming of like leaving your bedside table and hitting the floor. And it developed in me a sense of being so terrified of it going off. I would wake up before it goes off, because I was so terrified of it going off and then making the noise and then like rolling under my bed where I can't get it. And then it was so loud, and I stopped using it completely.
I don't think this is going to be as bad as that.
I don't think the Nintendo thing will be as bad. I think there is a cleverness or like a helpfulness at its core. Like I don't think this is like inherently like an evil product, or like they like designed to make you hate Mario music waking up. I think like
no. I just think that it will.
I think it's novel. I think visually it looks cool. You don't need I know there were some like rumors of like you need a Nintendo subscription to like use. You don't need a Nintendo. You need a Nintendo subscription to buy it to prevent scalpers, which I think is probably the most clever thing out of like this entire product launch.
And it sounds like you'll need a subscription to update it with new sounds potentially. Or maybe just an account.
I think you just need a Nintendo account.
An account.
I don't think you need an online subscription for that.
Here's what I'll say, though. There are some technical details behind this that maybe people are not missing, or maybe not aware of. So Alarmo uses millimeter wave sensors in order to sense whether you're in bed or where you're out of bed. And it's funny because I think like news articles were like, this is meant for single people, like, which it does say like a partner or a pet can disturb you. This technology has already existed, and this technology specifically, this millimeter wave technology, is why this alarm clock is so expensive, and why it's not perfect for everyone. So there's already an alarm clock that has this in that you can go out and buy. You could have bought this like 4 years ago. It's called the Google Nest Hub. It is a little 7-inch screen with no camera or anything, but it does have the millimeter wave, and it will show you the time. And when you lay in bed, it will use the millimeter wave to then sense you're in bed. And as a sleep tracker, it's incredibly good. It works really well. And it's funny because that's why I was asking questions about like your Aura Ring last week, Hannah, and just like Google Fit in general. Because I would assume that Pokemon Sleep could take the data from the Google Nest Hub, because all it's using is the Google fitness, whatever, Google Health
app.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because it's been my sleep has been recorded for the last 4 years in Google Health. Have I looked at it? No, but it's there. And when I wake up in the morning, the little Nest Hub will show me my sleep if I want to. It'll show me the weather. It'll show pictures of my cats, right? Like it was like a cool thing for like $140. But the selling point was the millimeter wave sleep, which is what Alarmo is using. This doesn't work very well in the sense of having two people in your bed, because if I get out of bed and if the person sleeping next to me is just close enough, it just assumes that is me, because it's not using a camera.
Right.
Or sometimes it'll say like, you slept from like 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. It was like, no, that was my cat who was just sleeping on my pillow. Like, or if I put like a water bottle in front of it, that will think that like, oh, I'm sleeping, because it's blocking the sensor in a way where it's, you also like ideally have to have it facing the bed. It has to be at like the right height technically, because if your nightstand is too short or too high, it's not like reading you. So if you're curious of like why this is $100, it's because of the millimeter wave stuff. And when it works really well, if you don't have pets or anything else in your bed, because all it's looking for is like an object in front of it.
Right.
And whether that object is moving or not without needing a camera, which I think is the right call. I think most people don't want
a camera on them while they sleep.
Don't put a camera in Nintendo. Don't put a camera
in their bedroom.
in your alarm clock. Alarmo does not need a camera.
So like I think it's novel. I think it's cool. I feel like 20-year-old me would have been first in line to buy this. But like 30, however old I am, 30-some-year-old me, like I just would never use this product. Like but I'm like the opposite of Hannah. Hannah has like 4 ways to track her sleep. I just don't care. Like I just like, I know that I slept bad, or I know that like I should be going to bed earlier, right? I don't need a machine to tell me that I slept bad. I can feel it when I wake up.
Sometimes it can help you figure out why. And some of them help you wake up at better times that make it so
easier.
That you're not, that make it easier.
Yeah.
So that you're not waking up in the middle of a sleep cycle.
Right.
I would be like, I think the themes is really great. It's crazy to me that Alarmo has more themes than the Nintendo Switch. Like that is crazy. I think adding more games is really cool. I think this is just a really good like Christmas gift or birthday gift for
exactly. That's what it's for. That's why it came out now, right? It's right before the holiday season. They're gonna sell a bunch of them for the holiday season. They don't have a Switch 2 to give us, but they're going to make some money. Nintendo's going to make some money during this holiday season with this item. So, yeah.
I still think it's going to make people, even if it's just kids, hate their favorite video games.
Yeah. I wonder how quickly that novelty will actually wear off, and it will just become like people's clock. That's just on their bedside stand and not actually use it for the alarm purposes.
Does it have like a non-Nintendo alarm, like just like a bell sound?
Does it have
not that
I don't
I've
think
seen.
So. I think it's only based on the 5 themes.
I guess maybe you set it to the game you don't play if you were trying to avoid hating.
Okay, so this brings up Splatoon. I don't know if you watched the video where they showed the Splatoon one, but the sound effect it makes when you move around is the sound of the paintball cannon going off. So if you want to feel like someone is shooting at you with a paintball cannon in the morning, then go ahead and turn the Splatoon theme on, because I'm sure that'll wake you up very
fully
quickly.
Incentivizing you to stay as still as humanly possible.
It sounds like a war zone. It's terrible. Like, I don't understand why they chose that theme for one of them. It sounds awful. I would never want to wake up with that theme going off. It's very interesting. If you haven't, make sure to watch that video.
This alarm clock has made me want to do is re-download Pikmin Bloom, because like them showing like the Pikmin and the little noises the Pikmin makes, I was like, I kind of miss Pikmin Bloom.
That's a
actually, I think
positive noise association. If you
yeah,
get
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
clock and
Yeah.
it goes off and wakes
You
you up
wanna
with
know
those sounds, you will never want to download Pikmin Bloom again.
Yeah, the most negative noise association I have in video games right now is the sounds that Pokemon Go make. The like battle noise, the like like I
From
can't.
going to Go Fest events
Yeah, from
and the
Go Fest
in-person.
events or just people doing like raids with the sound turned on. I just it's been 8 years. I think the Pokemon Go sounds are so ear-piercingly bad and just not good. Like the music in Pokemon Go I think is fine. It's just like their sound effects that they use for like battles or raids or when the game boots up. I just
Yeah.
I so don't like love the music of Splatoon. I think that Splatoon music is like too guitar riff heavy for me.
Yeah.
The Pikmin music, beautiful.
They also have music that'll help you wind down at night.
I think that's cool.
But the music doesn't seem, at least what they played, for it's subjective, but it doesn't sound like music that would wind me down. Like it's not incredibly peaceful. So I don't know. I feel like this will be purchased by a lot of people. They will use it as an alarm for like a week, and then it will just become a bedside clock.
I think it's a good collector's item.
I agree. I 1,000,000% agree with Hannah. I think this is like the thing. This is like the pocket Pikachu that you will want in like 20 years. Not to use it, but to be like,
you have
I remember when this came out. I want it.
Yeah. I mean,
the last thing I will say is I don't think that like Nintendo saw what Pokemon Sleep was doing and was like, "Oh, we need to like get in on this." Like,
I think that there is a boom in sleep technology in general right now, and for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to remind people that Nintendo was the same company that made Wii Fit. They literally made a weight balance board to get on for you to do yoga and exercise. So like this, I don't think is like unique or shocking of something that Nintendo will do. But I have no proof of this. I just want to like bring this up as a talking point. When Pokemon Go came out, people the Nintendo stock price shot up really high, right? When I don't know if you guys remember this when Pokemon Go came out, and Nintendo had to come out to investors and to the public and be like, we have nothing to do with Pokemon Go. Like just a heads up, like thank you for buying our stock, but we don't have anything to do with Pokemon Go. And the reason I'm saying this is because obviously Nintendo owns 1/3 or some portion of the Pokemon company. So I think that is probably very comparable to Pokemon Sleep. Like just because Nintendo has an investment in the Pokemon company doesn't mean that they're involved in Pokemon Sleep. And I realistically don't think like this will have like Pokemon Sleep integration.
It would be cool if it did.
I feel like it could though, based on the record.
It could because it would use
the show.
They would use the millimeter wave, just like the Google Nest Hub would.
It definitely could, but I don't feel like it will.
Yes, just like I don't think the Switch will ever get more themes. I don't think.
At this point,
I missed this in the article. Does Alarmo have Bluetooth?
Not that I know of. No.
So then
on the official Nintendo site, it says like button dial, notification button, back button, 2.8-inch screen, brightness sensor, and then motion sensor. The motion sensor is the millimeter wave technology.
Yeah. So if it doesn't have Bluetooth, then there isn't a way for it to.
Yeah.
It would have to send it to either Apple HomeKit or Google. Sorry, not HomeKit, Apple Health or Google Health.
Yeah. And there's
I don't think
no mention of that either.
Yeah.
So,
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it just can't.
The sleep data is just appearing on the device, right? Like it's not appearing in like an app.
No, you can look at the screen. You can turn it on. You can go into it on the screen, and then you can see the history of. I believe it's called movement data, but it does show. So it shows your movement data throughout the time you were sleeping.
Yeah, that's the same as the Google Nest Hub. It's just
Mm-hmm. And not being able to download that in one way or another takes out an entire subsection of audience of people who might use it otherwise, which is very interesting.
Well, it does have the Wi-Fi, and you do connect your Nintendo account. So at some point, they probably could have it set up to where it could send it to your Nintendo account, so you could see it on your
Potentially.
Nintendo account. But if it
Yeah.
doesn't have Bluetooth, though, it's most likely not going to be able to, at least on its own, sync to Pokemon Sleep. So
Yeah.
I think that would be not happening. But it'd be cool if it did. I mean, just another way to get that data in Sleep would be cool. But
I think
probably not.
the other inconvenience here, or the other negative about this, is there's no battery backup.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, I think that's why so many people rely on their phones as an alarm clock, because if your power goes out in the middle of the night, ideally, as long as your phone is charged, it will still wake you up when you asked it to wake you up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this device is just USB-C connected to the wall. I guess you could connect it to a battery bank. But that's totally on you.
Sure, yeah. Hey, I think I'm gonna lose power tonight. Let me plug this into it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a novelty item. It will be a collector's item to some extent, like you said. It will, again, I really think the alarm usage will drop dramatically after a few weeks with this thing, and it will
I'm not
just
sure
be a
it's
cool clock.
possible to set it otherwise. I don't know how much use
There's
there
no
is.
way you can't just have it be a clock and just turn the alarm off on it. What is
Okay.
it,
Yeah, I don't
Furby?
know.
You have to like hide it in your dresser drawer after you bought it so that it doesn't make
Okay,
noise.
so last question before we take a break. What other Nintendo games would be coming to this?
Hopefully not Pokemon. If
What-
it's going to
if
give people negative associations, hopefully not Pokemon.
I feel like
Mm,
if Pokemon comes to it, I feel obligated to buy it at that point.
let's see what else could. So they already showed off that they've got Mario Kart 8 and Animal Crossing coming.
Oh,
That-
really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's what they showed to say, like, if you hook it up to your Nintendo account, those are the first two that they were showing will be coming as updates.
Yeah, Animal
Okay.
Crossing is probably going to have the best sounds.
Probably.
Yeah. That
I heard the Ring Fit actually
unlike
has like the best
Splatoon.
sounds right now.
The
How
Ring
many
Fit
people are
is true.
setting it to Ring Fit? Unsure, but I would assume Kirby.
Yeah. See Kirby. Super Smash?
I don't know about Smash, but maybe something Yoshi related.
Yeah, Yoshi related would be something.
Metroid, maybe.
Just going through
Mario Kart?
the classics. What'd you say?
Mario Kart?
Yeah, that is coming.
That's coming.
Mario
Okay,
Kart
that's
and
the
Animal
one.
Crossing are
Yeah,
coming.
that's the other one. I was focusing on Animal Crossing.
I think Kirby would be guaranteed for sure.
I think Pokemon will come. Like if Alarmo is still popular to any extent in like a year,
It won't be.
Legends ZA theme coming to Alarmo. I mean, can we just back up for a second? It's got a name. Alarmo is great.
It's a
The
pretty
fact
good name.
that it's called Alarmo is amazing in itself.
It's a pretty good name.
It is. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think there will be. I can't imagine there will be that many themes coming. Like, I don't think there's gonna like in 2 years from now we have like 75 themes on this Alarm
Yeah,
clock.
no, I think like maybe after the first like Animal Crossing and Mario Kart, there are probably like 3 more themes and then they're done. Like,
Yeah.
I like this product screams like, let's put something out for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're done with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got some more Pokemon sports related stuff. This keeps
Bobby,
happening.
we're relying on you here.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of heavy lifting on Bobby. We'll be right back. And we are back from our break. I think it was like 2 weeks ago we talked about Pokemon being at a baseball game and how you could get. There was actually 2 baseball games. I think we talked about one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you could get like a Pikachu with a background of the stadium, and then they had raids, and You get like a shirt. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
They did another event. This one was for basketball. It was at the Climate Pledge Arena, and it was the Trailblazers versus the Clippers. This is off their actual website. The LA Clippers will host the Portland Trailblazers in Seattle as part of the 2024 to 2025 preseason for the Rain City Showcase presented by the Pokemon Company International. This is the third straight preseason that the Clippers will host a game in Seattle.
Which is confusing to me. I don't understand how that works as a not sports person. Why are two teams, neither of whom are Seattle teams? I was going to say battling. That's not how sports work. Competing?
Battling
in a stadium, in a location that
is not
that
Portland
is not
or Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That happens with exhibition games. They will play games in places that are not specifically one of their places. For instance, like the Lakers used to play at least one exhibition game down here in San Diego, which is closer, obviously, but there would be a Lakers game at our sports arena here in San Diego from time to time. I'm not sure why they're choosing that, why they chose Seattle. I don't know if one of them has a essentially like a minor league team that maybe plays in Seattle. I could see maybe if maybe Portland does. I'm not sure, but yeah, they do play. I mean, in football, they play games in London now, so like they play in places
true.
that the teams are not
and
from.
Germany and
I mean like American football. They play games in London.
Yes,
so,
they have done in Germany recently too.
Yeah, so
it's weird.
Yeah, they play games in places that they aren't from.
Does it have to do with like just sponsors in general? Like, is it because the Pokemon Company ultimately sponsored this venue that
it sounded like more of a repetitive thing than just this one Pokemon one?
Yeah, this is the third year now that they've done this.
Oh, these two specific teams,
or at least the LA team.
Yeah, the Clippers are the ones that host it. I don't know. They might not be playing the Trailblazers every year when they do this.
Okay.
Could be different.
Yeah, I guess I don't know the behind the scenes of sports. I do have this off Poke Beach. It said that every attendant received a stamped Pikachu promo card inside a Terra Charizard sleeve. Exclusive merchandise was also sold at the events. So you could get a hat, a pin, and a sticker, it looks like. And then the Rain City Showcase is a yearly NBA event. The only opportunity to get this promo last night. Strangely, the Pokemon Company International did not advertise the event on their socials ahead of time. No press releases were sent out. They only advertised it locally in Seattle. This is the first time the Pokemon Company has sponsored a sporting event in the United States. What do you... The Pokemon Company International's UK branch previously partnered with an England Football Association to promote the youth futsal. As a part of a collaboration between the Pokemon Company International, released 5 promos. That was like the soccer for the American people listening. That was the 5 soccer promo cards. Yeah. I guess I'm trusting that Poke Beach is accurate in saying this is the first time the Pokemon Company International has sponsored a sporting event in the United States, because I don't think the baseball stuff was specifically sponsored.
Correct. Was it even sponsored by Niantic or anything? Or was it just
like a collaboration?
Yeah, I don't know.
How are we defining sponsored?
Right. I'm not sure like how they're defining that. I mean, it does say it's presented by Pokemon.
Yeah, so I saw a screenshot of like every single seat had one of those Pikachu hats that you would get at like a Pokemon show. Like the entire stadium, every seat had a Pikachu hat on it. Whereas like the baseball stuff, it was just like a small or like a roped off area of the stadium was where like the Pokemon tickets were being sold as.
Well, so 2 things. Typically for one, basketball arenas have a much smaller space typically. So like you're typically going to see less fans showing up to a basketball game than you are a baseball or a football game. Second, unless you're the Chargers. Second, you're going the way that the baseball games work is typically like they hand out the free item upon entry, or in the case of the games that they had this at a while back, you would go to one specific area and go pick up the items. I don't know if in basketball games it's typically done that way, or if it is typically done where they just like set the item on a seat, because the people still received the card as they walked in, right? The cards weren't on the
No, just the hats were on the
seats.
seat.
Yeah. So, but
They knew that
yeah.
people would probably try and grab the cards from the other seats nearby.
Yeah, that definitely would have happened, because as soon as I saw this, I went to eBay because I wanted to see like, well, how much is this promo card today? And it does look like there are many that have a lot of bids on them, hovering around $50 or $60.
Yeah.
And then a lot of buy it nows are around $90 for this card. This free card. Well,
don't worry, somebody's trying to sell a Pokemon Pikachu Rain City Showcase exclusive hat, rare, for $20. I got news for that person. That is the same hat they've been giving out for free at every Pokemon Go event for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't nothing exclusive about that Rain City Pikachu hat you're trying to sell.
Yeah, but the card is cool. The little Pikachu promo card with a little Rain City stamp is cool. I can't tell. It does look like it is. Yeah, it is a Pikachu card from, I believe, Paldea Evolved. I think it's the Pikachu from that set. It just has a Rain City Showcase stamp on it. So that's cool. But yeah, if you want it now, it's somewhere between $60 and $90 online.
Really not that bad for how much does a baseball stadium or a basketball stadium hold?
It's probably, I don't know where this was. I would say it's under 20,000. So somewhere probably between 15, 18,000 seats typically in a basketball arena. Although I don't know where, I don't know where this was held, because I don't know what what teams would typically be playing at this arena, because Seattle, I don't know if Seattle has an NBA team, and I know they didn't for many years, and I don't know if they ever came back and brought a Seattle team back. I don't think they have yet.
I guess that would answer our question of why the two teams there
But I mean,
wouldn't.
there are other, right, like colleges that play in arenas and things like that. So I mean, I just don't think there's not an NBA team in Seattle right now.
Okay.
So
Hey, you build those stadiums, you got to fill it with something.
true.
Yeah. I, as not a sports person, I think this stuff is so cool.
I wish they had announced it at all. I mean, it's kind of cool for it to have happened, but I only learned about it after it had already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Hannah, you famously said no, that you did not want to go to the baseball game.
Yeah, no. I do live in the Pacific Northwest. I wouldn't have gone to the baseball game probably, and I would have been even less likely to go to this right now. At some point in time, maybe, but not right now.
Well, basketball game. Oh, this could cause controversy, but basketball games are more fun than baseball games, in my opinion. So.
That is a subject. That is an opinion. My family would not. Even if there was a Pokemon Go thing, even if this had been announced ahead of time, my family went to the baseball game and would not have gone to the basketball game.
Yeah,
there was a Pokemon Go tie-in, I guess. Here, it was not a background, which was a little unfortunate. Like the baseball, they did bring back Party Hat Pikachu. So Party Hat Pikachu was spawning at the event, which isn't like that exciting. But I think
it's not, but it is really cool to see them bring back kind of one little special thing and tie in all these different Pokemon elements together. I like that there was both a card special for the thing and a special Pokemon Go thing happening. That's really kind of surprising. They don't do that for very many events.
Well, I guess when the Pokemon company is sponsoring it, they can go to, and
They
different
can, but that doesn't mean
branches
they
of it.
will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bummed there was no Pokemon Sleep. If you nap at the game, you get a special hat Pikachu.
We increase Grubbin spawns if you sleep through this basketball game. I've never been to a basketball game. I've been to a baseball game. I've been to a soccer game. Never. I've never been to a football game either.
Really?
Unless you think like high school football, but that's like
It's different.
Yeah. Very different.
Yeah.
I've been to baseball games growing up because my family is big into baseball, but I think that's it. I played wrestling and track and field and jiu-jitsu and fencing, but none of those, that's all school sports.
Yeah. I've been to the main four, right? So baseball, basketball, soccer, and hockey. Baseball, basketball. Oh, sorry. Baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. Hockey is the most fun, in my opinion, honestly. Like, I'm not even a huge hockey fan. They
Isn't
are
hockey
really
cold, though?
I mean, you wear a sweater. I don't know. You're always wearing hoodies anyway.
That's true. That's true. I'm well prepared for a hockey game.
But they are very fun games to watch in person. And once you understand like what's going on, they are. I would say, I grew up as a very big basketball fan, so I was a huge NBA fan growing up. But I think hockey games are like the most fun I've had, like actually at a game, watching it live. Like going to a hockey game made me actually enjoy watching hockey on TV more after actually being at a
I
game.
believe that. I've taken people to like wrestling shows and they walk out being like, holy cow, that was like so fun.
Yeah. I feel like for almost any sport, once you experience some of the hype and camaraderie and excitement of a game, as long as nothing goes terribly wrong, you come out liking the sport at least a little bit more.
Yeah. Again, this is an opinion, but like I will say, like there are games though that, so for like baseball, for instance, it's a slower paced game in the same way that like hockey or like basketball or soccer, where you're constantly moving, right? Even like American football is slower paced in that it stops every play. So every play you have like 30 or 40 seconds where they're setting up, they're changing, they're figuring out a play. In basketball, hockey, and soccer, it's just constant movement for, depending on the sport, the amount of time, right? In hockey, it's 20 minutes a period. Basketball, it's 12 minutes a quarter. And soccer, it's 45 minutes a half, right? So it's constant movement throughout time. And there's less time to like not be watching it, I guess, with those, because there's constant stuff happening all the time. So I guess some people could find that like tiring. I don't know. I find it more fun to watch those games where there is more happening throughout the time you're there.
Yeah, I just like the concept of Pokemon being integrated with other things. Like again, I said I'm not like a sports fan, and I don't know if like Pokemon being at like a basketball game is enough to convince me, but I still think it's cool, right? Like I still think like wow, that was a cool thing they did. I hope the people who did go to that event have a good time, or like maybe somebody went who wasn't into basketball, like sat down and was like, wow, this is actually really fun. Now I'm like slightly more into it. I think those are like win-win situations in a lot of regards.
Mm-hmm.
Like it definitely reminds me of when I was in Jakarta and I ran that 5K. I just was like, man, I wish this happened more in more places. Like I think a Pokemon themed 5K is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it would probably encourage people who have maybe never run a 5K like to consider doing that.
I don't think we actually talked about it at the time. How themed was that 5K? Like, were there Pikachus standing around cheering people on? Was there like a lot of decorations throughout the run? Or
There, yeah. So the entrance was very themed and decked out, and there was I missed this because my first Uber canceled on me, so I was like waiting 10 minutes, and then they canceled on me, and then I had to run another one, so I wait 10 minutes. So I missed it, but there was like a whole like opening ceremony with like Pikachu warming up and doing stretches. So you were supposed to like stretch with Pikachu on stage, which was like really cool. So that was the part I missed. And then they had it broken into like obviously you got like a Pokemon themed shirt, you got your running number, and then when you were done, you got your Pikachu medal. But it was broken into like two segments. So there was a 5K and then there was like a 3K, and the 3K was meant for like families or kids. So they specifically told you that if you were running the 3K to like get to the back, because they wanted all the 5K people to like obviously not trample a bunch of like kids.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Good call.
So organization wise, it was set up really well. So I because I was late, I got my stuff, and then I was pretty much like the end of the 5K. Like the families just started going through, and I don't know how many people there were. There was like that event sold out, and disclosure, Niantic got me into the event for free. But I don't. There was a like every 5K you have to pay to enter to get your like to pay for the medal and the clothing or whatever the 5K came with. But as you ran it, they had like banners of like Pikachu, and then there were a bunch of photo opportunities. They had a bunch of like big, I don't want to say cardboard because they were like much thicker than that, but they had a bunch of like standees of like photo opportunities, and then they had like little obstacles. Like one of them was like a little like almost like a rock climbing wall, like not even that big, like something you could easily like take as an adult, take like 2 or 3 steps over and be like, I climbed it. But I can't. But they paired every obstacle with like a Pokemon, so I can't remember. It was like a Geodude or something for like the rock climbing, and then there was like a. It looked like a little car wash, like pool noodles hanging from the sky that you could like run through, and then there was like something you like army crawled through. These were all optional, and I think mostly to keep like a younger audience engaged. Like, oh, we're coming up to the next obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like,
and in terms of how Pokemon themed it was, everybody had Pokemon shirts on.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had Quackleval, Skeledirge, and Meowscarada on the shirts. Which in itself, when you think about it, is really cool, because you would think something as like a 5K, they would be like, just put the Charizard on it, just put the Blastoise.
Yeah.
If that, I mean, I've run races where they just give you a bib. Having a shirt is, I don't know, extra themed.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a bunch of photo opportunities. They had like people, I'm sure all 5Ks have this, where they have people being like, you're doing great, good job, like keep going. They had like 2 water stations, and then they near the end they had like a sprinkler system you could run through. I think I was like at the 4K mark. Nice. And I was running with my stream backpack, so I was like, I want to do this so bad, but I cannot get this backpack wet. And then at the very end, they had like a huge bubble machine that was like foaming bubbles everywhere. And then you got like a banana, you got the medal, and then it was like lined with a bunch of merchants that were selling like energy drinks or fruit drinks or boba, or there was a lot that were selling like the Pokemon themed items that were just available in Indonesia. You know, like they put Pikachu on a bag of chips. So they're like selling the bag of chips with Pikachu on it, which is like pretty clever. So I don't know how themed that is compared to other runs, because I've only done like 2 other 5Ks before, but like when I think of a themed run, I think of like a Disney 5K, which I know Disney does a lot of themed runs, but I know you're running in like the Disney park, but I don't know how, like, maybe that's just the theme of it, is you're running in the Disney
I
park.
feel like a lot of people dress up for that. I could be wrong, but I think people do kind of light cosplay costumes. But this,
I
I mean, I
believe they
feel
call
like
it
this
cosplay. I think they call it what do they call it?
Disney bounding.
Yeah, Disney bounding.
That sounds right. The Pokemon Run sounded pretty themed for a run,
Yeah.
especially you have the shirt, you have the people cheering you on, you have all of the obstacles throughout, and then you got a Pokemon medal at the end too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a hefty medal.
That's cool.
It's very hefty.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people stopping every 1K, 2K, 3K because that's where they had like the big photo opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a really, really cool experience. I went to Niantic and I was like, you guys should do 5K. Well, obviously Niantic's not in Georgia. To be fair, Niantic did not create the 5K, right? The 5K was put on by the Pokemon company, not Niantic. But like Niantic was the one that invited me there. So they were like, how's the weekend? And like they gave me like the tickets and everything. And I was like, there should be 5Ks at more Pokemon events. And their response to me was they saved the 5Ks for emerging markets. Well, obviously like Indonesia is an emerging market. But they said that it would be too hectic in already established markets. And I guess I agree to that. Like when you think of like the biggest race in the United States, I think that's the Boston Marathon. And they only allow like 23,000 people to do that. And you have to like qualify to get in. Like you have to prove that you can like run fast enough to even make it in.
Right.
And there's a bunch of people that don't even make it in. So yeah, I would imagine that would be the same issue in the United States or in Japan, where it's like you put up a 5K or a 10K and all of a sudden it like sells out, or there's too many people, or it's hard to control, especially like in Japan. And that, I guess that's probably why they didn't advertise the NBA stuff, because it probably would have been overrun by scalpers, or like I could imagine, just because of the America we live in today. I definitely could imagine people signing up for a 5K just to get the shirt, not to run the 5K, and then just to put the shirt on eBay.
But then they wouldn't have the medal to put on eBay.
That's true. But you could just walk it and then get the medal then put that up on eBay.
I think as far as the basketball game though goes, like you'd have to pay to get into the basketball game.
Yeah, so you pay, you go get the card, and you leave.
I know, but I don't. Basketball games aren't cheap. So
how much is a basketball game? I have no clue.
I would imagine somewhere between $50 and $100 a ticket. So if the card's only worth, I mean, I don't think people are going to. I just don't.
I feel like the card should be worth more and just isn't, because nobody knows this event happened.
Or the card is like kind of generic.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, what was cool about the when they did the little promotional, like the futsal promotional cards for the football ones, is that the cards were designed like to be themed around that, right? And I think it's always cool when they take characters from, like, say Pokemon or another, when I was a kid, they had like a Tiny Toons like a sports game. And so it was like all the Tiny Toons characters, except that like you play a basketball game with them, or bowling, or baseball. And it's just fun to see like those characters in a different theme, like, and like dressed up like in like a baseball uniform, or dressed up in a basketball jersey. And so it's cool to see the football ones where they have all the soccer, like they have the soccer ball and they have all the stuff with them. And then this basketball one, while cool that it still has the stamp, it's just another card, right? It's just a card from Paldea Evolved with a stamp.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if it was like Pikachu in like a basketball jersey, or like in a basketball arena or something. But then the card would also be worth 10 times what it's worth today, probably. So, you have your positives and negatives there.
Yeah, I still think about how cool the Pikachu Indonesia journey thing was, with like the run and the Pokemon Go and the concerts and the shopping experience. And it was very close to like the things you would do at like a world championship, minus the fact that a giant tournament was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And minus the fact that it was all spread out in Jakarta. But like
yeah.
I do wonder if we ever get to a point in time where there is like a Pokemon, like an official Pokemon convention or event that like isn't Worlds.
I would maybe see them doing a big Pokemon theme park before that happening. Keeping it all in one place feels easier.
Yeah. Or just like, the other solution is like coincide with a big Go event where like this weekend is this huge Go event, but also we have a concert and we have a drone show and we have meet and greets outside this Pokemon Go event, and we have a run and we have a store. Because like right now it's very hit and miss with Go events, whether like is there even going to be a store? Like what's going to be at the store? Is there going to be a drone show? Is there not? Is there going to be fireworks? There was no fireworks or anything for New York, but there were fireworks for Madrid. Or not fireworks, but like a huge like
light
confetti explosion, whatever they did for the
Got
picture.
It's very different from fireworks.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like kind of very hit and miss with Pokemon events, but I do think they're getting to the point where like expanding them out feels like the natural progression.
Yeah, they have a lot of different branches of events and a lot of different branches of games, and I feel like they're starting to maybe tie them together more and more slowly. And being able to have events where everything is kind of tied together, and there's a lot of Pokemon stuff going on, but it's not all Pokemon Go or all anything else that's ever segregated from the rest of the Pokemon things. Usually it's just Pokemon Go and then the rest of Pokemon.
TCG, I would say.
TCG, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, yeah. But being able to have events that is just kind of all Pokemon stuff, it's starting to feel like that's happening more and more.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Pokemon Go, we have the Halloween event details. So we will take a quick break and then we'll wrap up with Pokemon Go and then maybe Halloween stuff for Scarlet and Violet. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. Mankey Community Day. That has nothing to do with Halloween, by the way, but the November Community Day will be Mankey.
Oh, it's November, right?
Which Annihilape is a ghost Pokemon.
True,
yeah.
But it's November.
Yeah, they announced it in October. It's the thought that counts. Limited time evolution requirement. You can evolve Primeape into Annihilape after catching 20 fighting type Pokemon with Primeape as your buddy. I don't remember what the requirement was before that.
30?
Is it? Did they just decrease it from 30 to 20?
Probably.
3 times catch XP, 2 times catch candy, 2 times XL if you're level 31 and above. Lure modules 3 hours, the normal incense 3 hours, surprise snapshot, 1 additional special trade, 50% less Stardust.
It is actually completely different currently. You have to defeat 30 psychic or ghost type Pokemon.
Yes, that makes sense.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It is.
Which is why they switched it to, what is it? Did it say catch 20 fighting type Pokemon?
Yes, which you're going to be catching Mankeys, so
right,
pretty easy. Primeape will appear in 4-star raids after the event is over, so you can then extend that. Mankey will be the showcase. We'll see if that actually happens, because the showcases are forever broken.
Was it Slowpoke during the Sewaddle?
Yes, it was Slowpoke during Sewaddle, yeah.
Yep, that's a mess.
How many Gen 1 Pokemon have not had a community day at this point? We have to be getting like sure, this one gets a free pass because it
has Annihilape.
Yes.
Plus, I feel like, I don't know, as someone whose fighting type Platinum Metal was the last of the type Platinum Metals I got, and that was still fairly recently, I feel like having a fighting type community day is usually a good thing for a lot of players.
You got Dragon before fighting?
I did. There have been a lot of Dragon type community days.
Yeah. Dratini twice.
Dragon was the last one for me.
I think Fairy was last for me.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't know. This is cool. Mankey's fine. Mankey's fine. I love Annihilate. I was never a fan of the Mankey line until Annihilate. So
because I was someone who grew up with Pokemon, when I was a kid on the playground, I pretended to be a Mankey with my friends when we played Pokemon at recess. So Mankey is close to my heart. So I'm happy about this.
I feel like even though Mankey appeared in like 1 or 2 early episodes of the anime, it was very impactful to like a lot of people.
Was it? Mankey was also around when I was a child, even though we have an age difference.
The episode where Mankey steals the hat and then they go in the boxing match.
I guess. I don't know. It's just, again, it's fine.
I feel like I definitely wanted a Mankey on my team because of the anime.
Okay. Mankey was version exclusive, right?
It was exclusive to Red, and I had Blue.
I think that was my problem, was that I had Blue
that would
as
do
my
it.
first game. So.
Halloween Part 1. This will start on Tuesday, October 22nd. It will run from Monday, October 28th. I'm assuming there's a Halloween Part 2 since they said
that would be weird if there wasn't.
just Part 1. We're done. Morpeko will make its Pokemon Go debut. Morpeko will charge into Pokemon Go, changing the way you will battle. A certain Pokemon like Morpeko will be able to change form in battle each time it uses its charged attack. Initially, Morpeko will only be able to change forms when battling Team Go Rocket or in Go Battle League. Initially, only be able to change forms. Oh, okay. So, like, it can't change form in raids, is what it's saying.
Right. Yeah.
Starting with this event, you can find Morpeko in the reward encounters throughout the season of Go Battle League. During the event, Morpeko will be encountered more frequently in the premium track of Go Battle League. After the event, starting at rank 16 of Go Battle League, Morpeko will be encountered in both Go Battle League reward tracks, but more frequently in the premium track. That's like no different from what they've done before. Mm-hmm. Dynamax Ghastly will make its debut in 1-star raids. The following Pokemon will appear in max raids: Ghastly, which can be shiny, Grookey, Scorbunny, and Sobble. And then 3-star raids will still be Phalanx, which can still be shiny. There will be 2 times the catch bonus for catching Pokemon during this event. Increased chance to encounter shiny Umbreon in raids and shiny Zorua in the wild. So that's cool. Increased chance of shiny Zorua. Wild encounters. Here's your Halloween encounters, Bobby. You got Zubat, Spinarak, Murkrow, Misdreavus, Shuppet, Drifloon, Purloin, Female Frillish. Just that one, not the other one. Sarua, Litwick, and Grievard. Grievard. How do we say it?
Grievard. We looked this up.
What it came down, what it came down to.
And then some trainers might find a Sableye or an Absol. All of those Pokemon I just named can be shiny, except for Grievard.
Yeah.
Sneasel, Sableye, Yamask, Galarian Yamask will be in 1-star raids. Hisuian, Typhlosion, Umbreon, and Bombardier, my favorite Halloween Pokemon ever, Bombardier, will be in 3-star raids. And then your field research will be Sableye, Scraggy, Golett, Sandygast, Morpeko in field research, so you don't have to do Go Battle League. Nimble, Grievard, and then some trainers will be able to find Spirit Tomb.
Just a note on that. I will almost guarantee that the field research task for Morpeko is going to be like Go Battle League.
Yeah.
Do a Go Battle League match or win a Go Battle League match. So I hold on to that. You might not have to do Go Battle League. You might still have to.
Good point. For $5, you all have $5, right? For $5, you'll be able to access event-exclusive branching timed research. The timed research will give you 3 times catch candy, event-themed Pokemon, including first peek at new costume Pokemon debuting in Part 2, which is Froakie wearing a Halloween costume. It's just a witch hat. That's all he's wearing. Rowlet wearing a Halloween costume. It's like a top hat, but he also has like a bow tie on, so it's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Event-themed Pokemon, including Pikachu wearing a witch hat, which Was this last year as well, or was that a different one last year? I feel like they rotate them out. So
it's definitely been this Pikachu before. I don't know
Mhm.
if it was last year's one though.
yeah, I
but it
think it's been a
definitely has
year or
been.
two since this one's come back.
Yeah.
Spiritomb, Morpeko, you'll get encounters with a new avatar choice with a Morpeko onesie full belly mode or a Morpeko onesie hangry mode. So $5 gets you everything I just listed. More candy. It gives you more Peko, so it looks like you'll be able to skip Go Battle League if you pay $5, which might be worth it for a lot of people.
Again, the task to get the Morpeko might be Go Battle League.
Exactly.
In this $5 research, so still hold off.
Yeah, that's fair.
For $2, you'll be able to do event exclusive timed research. And then when you are, the following Pokemon will be able to encounter when you complete the timed research: Pikachu wearing a hat, Vulpix wearing a spooky costume, Gengar wearing a spooky costume, Piplup wearing a Halloween mischief costume, Drifloon wearing a Froakie, Pumpkaboo, Rowlet. They're all wearing costumes. It's the ones that they've been before. So for $2, you can repeat these events. You can gift these. You can buy these. You can see, if you want to see what these outfits look like, we'll link the thing in our show notes of the onesies for Morpeko. There's also a Woobat top hat that is coming out. They will have lavender music. There will be new web store Halloween pack updates. I don't know if they're worth it, but
yeah, hold on. No, we need to talk about.
Yeah, you need to look at these.
Oh wait,
web store.
We have to do the web store. Okay, I got the web store here.
All right.
$5, you get the Creepy Crate, which is 3 remote raid passes, 1 premium raid pass, and 1 max particle. For $40, that's the Pumpkin Pack, which is 20 incubators and 20 super incubators. And for $100, that's the Boo Bundle, which will be 3 remote raid passes, so generous, 50 super incubators, 3 max particle packs, 16 premium battle passes, and 50 incubators.
Okay. I just think it's $100. Like, have they done $100 like event themed? I mean, this isn't really event
for
themed when you think about it. It's just 50. It's the 50 super incubators and the 50 incubators, right? Like, are the big chunk of this. I do like the names, Boo Bundle. That's great, but I've not seen like event themed $100 bundles before from Pokemon Go.
I feel like Hannah's right. I feel like for Go events, there are specific bundles.
Well, sure. There was definitely. I think
yeah,
even
there are
like,
for the in-person events, but for a global event, I feel like this is the first time we've seen a $100 bundle.
Yeah, I don't ever remember like $100 Delibird Christmas bundle.
Yeah. I don't know. Just
Halloween was like the
first
Pokemon Go like big event, right?
I think so.
Where they did like the double candy, they debuted Halloween. Like Sableye or something like that. Like I remember people really freaking out. They changed the music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
I would guess Halloween is like a good moneymaker for them.
Yeah. They go all in for Halloween. And I really feel like this $100 bundle is for parents who are going to be out trick-or-treating with their kids. Just because it's all the incubators.
Yeah, all the incubators, a lot of walking.
What I'm excited for with this event is that they're bringing back the whole thing where the map changes and there are Halloween decorations and all of that. And it's going to be different this year because we got all the visual updates.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so I'm
they
hyped
gotta
to see
pay that artist.
Yeah.
You gotta buy that Creepy Crate.
I will say, like, so they definitely have said they're going to be doing that with this, which is cool. Was it the Psychic Spectacular maybe 2 years ago where like the sky changed and the event was really good. It was a really good event, and I believe it was a psychic event. I thought it was a Psychic Spectacular event, and they had like a different sky and there was a whole bunch to it.
I don't remember the sky changing.
Yeah, it was like almost like an aurora borealis or something like in the sky.
I do remember that, but I don't think it was the Psychic Spectacular, but I don't remember what event that was.
I just feel like fast forward to this year's Psychic Spectacular, and I feel like it wasn't where it was a couple of years ago. I'm almost 100%. It's like the same. It was like the same time frame, same event as a couple of years ago.
I
I
feel
remember a
like the
lot of
Psychic
people
Spectacular 2
raving
years
about
ago
it.
was Inkay.
Maybe
Maybe
3 years ago then?
Maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
there are too many of these events at this
I'm
point.
I'm just saying that I hope that the Halloween event has always been exciting to people. I feel like that's always been one of the bigger global events that people really like every year. And so it sounds like it will, stay up to how exciting it's been every year, especially because it's like 2 parts.
I think it's easy to look at this and be like, ugh, they're charging $5 here and they're charging $2 here, and I think that's fair criticism. I do think though, like the wild encounters are pretty good,
mm-hmm.
And the fact they're increasing shiny Zorua in the wild is like really great.
Yeah, Zorua is still exciting, even though it's been around for a good while at this point. Every encounter with the Zorua is still kind of fun.
And we don't know what part 2 is yet. Besides, we know that the Froakie and the Rowlet and the Pikachu seem to be more dominant in part 2, according to this paid research.
Do we think we're getting Mimikyu this year?
No, 100% not.
Is Mimikyu going to be the very last Pokemon that comes to Pokemon Go?
How do we not get Mimikyu?
No, I don't. I think it's very obvious to me that 1, Mimikyu is not this year, but 2, Mimikyu will be debuted as Morpeko is being debuted. Mimikyu has a form change, and now that they're okay with doing form changes, and Morpeko's being the first one with that form change. So, like, think of every Pokemon that hasn't been released yet. Like, we know that, like, Smeargle for a really long time wasn't released. Not that that's a form change, but that's, like, very specific. And, like, Kecleon, again, not a form change, but very specific. It took them really long to release that. But, like, Morpeko, Mimikyu, they both have obvious form changes. Another Pokemon not released that has a very obvious form change is Aegislash. Like, that whole line is still not released. Unfortunately, I hate saying it, but Cramorant has a form change. And, like, so them saving Cramorant for GBL now makes sense. So, like, if you're just like Morpeko, Aegislash, Cramorant, Mimikyu, there's probably some other Pokemon I can't think of off the top of my head. It to me seems like these are going to be seasonal introductions for GBL. And so, like, it's definitely Morpeko this year. No way is it going to be Mimikyu. So we're like a year out from Mimikyu at the very late. Like, there's no way they introduce Mimikyu in like the spring with like GBL.
Oh,
they could.
They could. Yeah, no, you're right. And I was thinking that too, because I was thinking, no, like they got to do Mimikyu, but then with Morpeko, just on top of the form change thing, I was saying this to Hannah earlier. It's like it's another like Pikachu related type Pokemon, and it's like they don't want to do too many of those together. I don't like, so it's like Morpeko's coming. That's the like sort of related to Pikachu in some way, right? It's like the Galar like mouse. So it's like I don't think they would also do Mimikyu at that same time, but it is really annoying that they haven't released Mimikyu yet after all these years.
How long has it been since Pikachu in a Mimikyu costume has been? Like,
right.
Almost the entire game.
It was like the second.
It was one of their very first costumes.
Yeah, it was like the second Halloween, I think.
So if we assume that next year is Mimikyu, they also bring back the Pikachu in the Mimikyu costume to correspond. Because
I would hope. Yeah, they'd have to.
It's been so long since.
Okay, Pikachu in a Mimikyu costume was 2019, it looks like, or maybe that's just the best one I have.
So 5
and I
years
deleted
ago.
the older ones.
Yeah,
but I feel like there was a Mimikyu hat in Pokemon Go very early on.
When it was like right when I think it was right around when Alola, when they released just the Alolan Pokemon that were just the ones that were like Alolan forms. Like it was like Alolan Executor and Alolan Marowak and Alolan Raichu all came out like that
was back in 2018.
Yeah, I think the Mimikyu hat was then.
No, the Mimikyu hat was one of the very first hats. It was literally the first hat you could buy in Pokemon Go, if this is in chronological order.
No,
the Mimikyu hat in Go is old.
Yeah, well, one day we'll get the actual Mimikyu in Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I think Mimikyu is probably a little more complicated than Morpeko is. Like, how do you get the disguise to work in GBL that doesn't feel completely broken.
What's the other Pokemon that does something very similar to that?
What, disguise?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about the form change? Because the Aegislash is either shield form or king form.
Isn't there another Pokemon where like the first move you do on it doesn't do any damage? It's not Mimikyu.
Ice-Q?
Ice-Q. Yeah, that's right. Ice-Q. Okay.
Ice-Q. Ice-Q is if you get hit by a physical move, it still stays in what is it called? Nice form, I think. And then if it was hit with a special move, that's when the face breaks.
And you get noise form.
Got it. Right.
No ice.
And yeah, and I don't know how they even do that in GBL either.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think Ice-Q is another Pokemon.
Years away. They don't need to worry about Ice-Q right now. That's years away during the holiday season, probably.
I do think it's like interesting that they're going to experiment with forms in GBL. Like, I don't know if that's good or bad. I just think it's interesting. And so I guess we'll see with Morpeko how much people like it or dislike it, or if it will be balanced in any sort of way. But if you look at the Pokemon not released, it's a lot of Pokemon that have gimmicks to them.
Yep. That is true. I believe, by the way, real-time follow-up on this Psychic Spectacular. I believe it was 2 years ago, where this sky is a different color because it's like Mega Alakazam. Just looking at the image, and the sky is all purple and pink. I remember, Steve, you like loved this event, this Psychic Spectacular event for like 2 years ago. And
I don't love anything. I don't believe this.
That's why it was so surprising to me. That's why I remember.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so I just was thinking back to that event, and I thought there's another event that I felt like was really well liked when it came out, and then we've had the Psychic Spectacular, and I think they did actually have it in 2021 as well. But in 2022, it was like really cool, and then it kind of hasn't come back to that. And I just hope, knowing the Halloween event is always really exciting, like people are really excited for it, I hope that level, that energy stays up for the Halloween event as it continues on. At some point people may get a little bored of it, but based on what we have coming, what they've shown us, I think that it'll be I think people will enjoy this event.
I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
And also, the Inkay event was 3 days before that Psychic Spectacular you were talking about, so all around the same time.
I remember the Inkay Research Day or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yep.
Speaking of Halloween, Scarlet and Violet, like we said at the start of the show, probably by the time this episode comes up, there will be maybe another 7-star raid. We're running out of starter Pokemon. We have Feraligatr, and we have Torterra, and I think that's it. I think those are the last two. I could be forgetting one, but I think that's what we got left. Which is not enough to get us to the end of the year. So I could see them doing like a 7-star Halloween Pokemon, whether that's like Gengar or Houndstone or anything Halloween. I don't think that would be weird or out of the norm, since they did Iron Bundle for Christmas.
Yeah.
Also November, they're probably going to bring back 7-star Eevee. If they brought back 7-star Pikachu, 7-star Eevee was pretty easy to run through. And if 7-star Eevee comes back with like Herba Mystica, because every 7-star has had Herba Mystica now, that would be really great for people who just want to grind out Herba Mystica. Like, there's tons of body pressers that work really well for Eevee. So I can't imagine it would be much different, since every 7-star that has returned has not been different. Well, Pikachu was different, but different in an easier way. They just didn't give it as much health anymore.
Right.
So I guess November has like an Eevee, probably. I would hope they do a 7-star Halloween. I don't really care what Pokemon it would be. I just think 7-star raids are fun.
I think they might do. Did they do a Halloween mass outbreak last year?
They did, from what I remember. So a mass outbreak would also be really cool for them to do. I know we got the Clefairy was the first mass outbreak. I remember.
Yes. Wasn't there one with Dreepy at one point?
That was more recent.
Oh, okay.
All right, I see the Iron Bundle. There was the Dragon outbreak for Christmas. That was Dratini, Duraludon, and Jangma. Oh, that was like the Christmas stuff.
Oh, there was spooky mass outbreaks.
Yes, there was. There was the Ghost type mass outbreak.
Yeah.
It was Mimikyu. Featured Pokemon: Drifloon, Phantom, Mimikyu, Greavard. Location was Paldea and Kitakami. They were not increased shiny, but they were increased to have the crafty mark. So,
got it. And looks like it was from October 27th through Halloween, through the end of October 31st.
Yes, and there was the Trick or Treat Miss Magius raids, where 5-star Miss Magius, you would get more rare candy for battling Miss Magius.
Yeah. So I could see them doing this. I mean, so Halloween falls on a Thursday this year. So I do wonder if they'll make it a bigger event, maybe like starting at the previous Thursday and then running it through the end of the Halloween weekend, maybe, which would be cool. Something like that. They could just do it like Halloween through that Thursday through the weekend as well, I guess. So
yeah, I think the we're picking 3 Pokemon, one on Paldea, one in Kitakami, one in Blueberry. I think that's like a really good system they've been doing. So it'd be neat.
Yeah.
Is there a Alolan or Galarian ghost Pokemon that exists in the game? Put you know how they did like Alolan Raichu outbreaks?
I
don't think so.
Don't know. Alolan Marowak is not in.
But Cubone's not in the game.
No, Cubone's not in the game, huh?
Yeah. Raticade's not in the game. I don't know. Raticade's kind of spooky.
Grimer?
Grimer kind of spooky.
Alolan Grimer?
But it's already
creepy.
Yeah-ish. You find them all over the place, though.
Yeah, that is true.
I still believe there will be an event which is regular Meowth, Alolan Meowth.
You're really hanging on to that one.
I don't think that's a Halloween event, but I do think they'll put all 3 Meowths.
Yeah, I mean, Galarian, like, Berserker is kind of creepy in itself.
I think we're past National Cat Day. No, National Cat Day is later this month. It's actually right before Halloween, it looks like. So.
Oh. What if they did it?
Is Corsola in the game? I don't think so.
In this game, I don't think so.
Because you're the one that plays it a lot more than we
yeah, you think. Galarian Wheezing? That's not really Halloween-y.
Not really Halloween.
Yamask, I don't think is in.
No, Yamask is not in the game. Or the whole Zigzagoon line not in the game. Farfetch not in the game. Mr. Mime not in the game. Darumaka is also not in the game at all. Yeah. No Darmanitan 10 or anything.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what they do.
They could do like, what would actually be cool? Because Giratina is in the game. Doing like a 5-star Giratina. Because they did 5-star Dialga and Palkia. And that was really, really popular.
True.
Yep.
So like a 5-star Giratina, because it is allowed in it's not one of Snacksworth's Pokemon you can get, but neither was Dialga and Palkia, but Giratina is allowed in the game. So that would probably be the coolest. I think people would be more excited for a 5-star Giratina than a 7-star Houndstone.
Oh yes, for sure. A Giratina would actually bring people back. I don't think.
Yeah.
A Houndstone would.
I always I know it's like a small target market, but I always rank how popular 7-star raids are based on how many people view my raid guides, and the amount of people that viewed my Dialga and Palkia raid guide was insane. And I didn't even think to do one because I was like, oh, it's just a 5-star. And then people were like, we're having trouble, can you make a raid guide? I was like, yeah, I guess they're just 5-star, but but that one was viewed so much. But I think it's legitimately because people were like, I just want this Pokemon, what's the easiest way to get a Dialga? They're legendary, not everyone played,
and they're popular legendary Pokemon.
Oh yeah, very popular. That's the Greninja and Cinderace really popped off. Those are two very popular Pokemon, though. Super. Spoiler: the Chestnut raid guide was not viewed that much because people just don't like Chestnut.
Aw.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Chestnut. Hey, well, that's our episode for the week. If you made it to the end, thank you. Like I said, if you're missing the Twitch streams, I should be back in a week or so. There is a bunch of extra stuff on Patreon. So if you would like to sign up for Patreon and get your ad-free episodes, your bonus episodes, your bonus behind the scenes content, you can do that. That'll be in the show notes. It is what it is. We'll be back next week though. I think Bobby will be off the next 2 weeks, but we have people lined up. And the maze thing is happening this upcoming weekend. So hopefully on next week we can talk about what that maze thing actually was. And if it was worth it or not worth it, or what. I mean, we spent the middle of this episode talking about Pokemon doing more things, so we'll see. We'll see if the maze thing is something cool. But we'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Bobby. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super telling you not to use a Pokemon theme on your Alarmo alarm clock if it ever comes out. Don't ruin the Pokemon sounds for yourself. Effective.